Hey everyone, welcome to my first backpacking video of the year. What you're seeing here on the right is Mount Bierstadt, which is a 14er, meaning its height is over 14,000 foot elevation, and on the left, that point is the Sawtooth. I'm standing at Gonala Pass right now and planning to hike up in that vicinity and do a little overnighter. As you can see by the dark clouds, I won't be going near the summit today. I'll kind of have to make sure I don't end up too exposed. I haven't heard any thunder, and the clouds aren't really that thick and deep, so they may not really even be capable of producing like an actual thunderstorm, but you never know. Can't be too cautious. Definitely producing a little light rain, but it's beautiful and green and just gorgeous. So here we go. Getting a close look here at Dead Man Lake. It's actually been downhill the whole way. The car is up there by that white camper. Dropped down into this low alpine meadow valley area. Just enjoying the downhill while I can. It's absolutely beautiful weather. You might not think it looking at the sky, but not every trip has to be blue sky and sunny, right? Makes it more interesting. The air has that beautiful fresh rain smell to it. It's real nice. The wildflowers are out and popping. I'll hopefully get some better places to show you guys that in a little bit. Here's a nice little grove of the wildflowers, like I was saying. Unfortunately, I'm not so good with all my names. I think the yellow ones are buttercups. I know for sure those bright pink ones are Indian paintbrush. But I'm not sure about the white ones or any of the others that you see here. Well, I've reached the creek crossing. This is Scott Gomer Creek, which drains out of the cirque up there on the north face of Bierstadt in the Sawtooth, which means the downhill portion is going to be done for a while, but it's also a nice opportunity to get some water going using the stair pen again. Once again, just because it's such a pristine source of water. The stair pen will kill off all the pathogens in it and leave any of that natural taste behind, which would be awesome. I'm making good progress. I'm almost up to the top of the ridge here. Ever since crossing the creek that you can see way down there, it's been raining pretty well. Got a pretty good saturation going. But now the sun's come out temporarily. That way is the way the weather is moving. So this is actually what's coming. So it looks like I've got more rain yet. But it's getting some nice colors and shadows and contrast with the sun poking through the clouds. That there in the center screen is Square Top Peak, or Square Top Mountain. I'm not sure. If you look at it from this way or this way, it has like a flat, squared off edge. From this vantage point, it doesn't really make sense why it was named that way. But I'll keep trudging on. Alright, I made it back up to the top of that ridge. There's where I came from. You can see the road in the distance there and Dead Man Lake. Just been following the standard summit trail the whole time, which snakes up, just follows the obvious line right up there to the summit of Mount Bierstadt. There's a good look at the Sawtooth. I'm planning to camp down in this cirque down here. So now I'm kind of deciding if I follow this trail up further and then bail off the side, or do I go down now and kind of traverse around a little bit. It's kind of windy and it looks like there might be some rain, so I could be exposed to the wind a bit and weather up here, and I can always bail off to the side. So I'm not sure what I'll do, but you guys will find out soon enough. Alright, well, I hiked it a little further and then bailed off the ridge. Just caught over that snowbank there on that little strip that's almost melted out. Getting views into the cirque now, below the Sawtooth. Home will be somewhere up in here, probably near one of these little lakes. Yeah, unnamed lakes, they don't have a name. There's the summit of Bierstadt. And yeah, I fully expect to have this entire basin to myself tonight, which will be awesome. Now I just have to pick my line through. It looks pretty marshy through here, pretty willowy through here. So I can either try to go down here and pick my way through, or go around a little bit, and then I know I'll avoid the willows and the marshy spots. Which is probably what I'm leaning towards. I'm leaning towards I'll go out here, stay out of most of the big talus, except for this field I'll have to cross, and find a place to ditch the pack and set up the tent. Clouds are moving in, socking in the summit of Bierstadt. I just came across outcropping of Colorado columbine. That's the state flower. And there's a look up at the ridge line coming down. Kind of hard to see with the contrast, but looks like the weather might be clearing up. All that rain I was looking out before I bailed down the ridge didn't really materialize, so that would be awesome. Alright, well, there's that little break in the snow where I came down, traversed this slope here, went around this boggy area on that talus there, and now made it to kind of this little flat-ish kind of rocky outcropping. And right up here along this head wall going off, get a great view of the valley below there. Bunch of beaver ponds, just super lush green, really beautiful. Got some low-level clouds spilling over the mountains there. As you can see, the rain clouds are starting to burn off. Now I just get to hunt around for that perfect flat tent site, which is going to be a little tricky just because any spot that's nice and flat is likely going to pool up water and have soggy ground. So we'll get to hunting around, see if we can find a nice spot with a view. There's the Sawtooth and Bierstadt up there. Not a soul in sight. Haven't seen anybody since I left the trail. Everybody was on their way down from the summit today. I was the only person heading up. Alright, found home for the night. Once again, using the Tarp Tent Stratospire 2. It's totally overkill for coming out solo like this, but the only thing I have that weighs less than that is my just plain sil nylon tarp. I didn't know how buggy it would be, and with as wet as the ground is, I would have wanted a ground sheet to sleep on anyway, and at that point my tarp with a ground sheet gets pretty close to the Stratospire 2. So found a nice flat spot where it's, I mean, the ground everywhere is a little spongy, but it's nice and duffy, fluffy grass, so it should be really really nice for sleeping on. Like, all the stakes went in real well, no rocks. I've kind of got this big sheet of granite here that will make a bit of a windbreak, I hope. Maybe it'll funnel the wind through here, I don't know. And then right over here, got a nice couple little unnamed lakes sitting below the summit. And the Sawtooth just parked right in the middle of this big bowl, all to myself, which is awesome. And so I'm going to be getting some dinner going here soon, get my whole sleep set up sorted out, Then I have to make some, well, I won't make any decisions now, but I have to decide what I'm going to do tomorrow morning. I've thought about taking, like leaving all my sleeping stuff behind and just taking a light pack with just like breakfast stuff and water and clothes basically, and going back up this ridge that I came down, only further, I'll be further to the south. I came like kind of that way is where I dropped down and took a nice steady traverse down. So if I went up this, it's going to be a lot steeper. Unless I break down my tent, I won't have my trekking poles because they're obviously used to set up the tent. So I'd have to bust up that and do it without trekking poles. And then from there, it's pretty mellow to get to the summit of Bierstadt. I'll just link into the normal trail. So I could do that and have breakfast and coffee up top, which would be pretty epic. But the lazy side of me thinks going up there is gonna suck, and then having to come all the way back down. I've summited Bierstadt 3 other times, so it would be more to show you guys than anything else. And then the other decision for tomorrow morning is, what do I do to head out of here? My plan was to drop down this way into that valley, that big basin with the beaver ponds that you saw in the last clip. There's a faint trail going through there, and I was kind of curious to link up with it and follow it out and see where it ties back into the main trail. Because what a lot of people do is they'll climb up Bierstadt, and then it's a class 3 scramble route on the back side of this knife edge between them, and you come up this ramp by the Sawtooth. That there is like the gnarly section where you really wouldn't want to fall. And then over the top of the Sawtooth that way is Mount Evans. So they'll go do the Sawtooth, climb Mount Evans, come back down the backside of the Sawtooth, down this chute that you see right here. And they'll go down into the valley down there and link up with that trail I'm talking about. And I've never done that. I've climbed Mount Evans numerous times. I've climbed Mount Bierstadt numerous times. I've never done both of them paired together with the Sawtooth. And I was kind of curious what that trail coming out of here looks like. At the same time, it looks really boggy down there and it could really suck. So I could also just, go back out the way I came. I'll get some food in me, think about it. Like I said, I don't really have to decide until tomorrow morning. All right, time to get some dinner. Sorry guys, I'm in a cranky mood, I guess. I just reviewed that last clip I shot. Seem I'm in a sour mood. I think I need some food in me, so got a nice place to look out. And dinner is gonna be lazy because I just brought some leftover spaghetti from home. So I'm just gonna eat it. Not really cold, but room temperature. And then I got a granola bar, and I'll make myself a hot drink before bed. That'll kind of be my little substitute for a hot meal. I really just don't feel like putting that in my pot and warming it up and having to do dishes. I'm like, I'll wolf that down so fast it won't even be worth it. So that's what I'm gonna do. Got this great overlook at the valley here. You can see right here, this is that faint trail from when people climb down, like I was saying earlier, and that trail starts up. There it goes there. And then this section in here is where it looks like it's gonna be full of water in places and really crappy. And then I think it stays a little higher than the creek and kind of skirts its way out and links back up with the main trail that I came in on. But we'll see. I mean, my feet are wet and there's no going to be really drying out my shoes or anything like that. So, I mean, if my feet are wet, then going through the boggy section really isn't that big a deal. So, we'll see. I'm still trying to decide on what to do tomorrow. If I should, I had this great idea in my head of having breakfast up top and watching the sunrise from the summit and having coffee and having it all be glorious. But the hike up there and also having to wake up pretty early. I'd have to climb up this in the dark just by headlamp, which I think I could do, but we'll see. all getting treated to a pretty epic sunset. Looking out over this valley. Just found a nice sitting rock. What I'm really hoping is that the sun gets low enough to light these clouds from underneath, because then we'll really get some cool colors. So we'll see if we get lucky. There's the sun setting on Mount Bierstadt and the Sawtooth. Got that granite just bathed in that pinkish orange light. It's beautiful. Lifts my spirits just as much as having a campfire would. There's a fire ban in effect right now, so I couldn't have a fire even if I wanted to, but I'm quite a ways away from burnable firewood at the moment. It's hard to tell. We might be getting those clouds lit up from the underside. Now, we did get some of that effect. Not as much as I was hoping for, but still beautiful. And I've been watching it for a couple minutes. I think it's at its peak, so what a nice treat. Just looks like the sky's on fire. Got those little tiny ponds down there reflecting off. Simply beautiful. Well, everyone, got water boiling up there to have a little bit of tea, using the same old usual fancy feast alcohol stove, DIY beer can windscreen there. Once I get that tea made, I'm probably gonna go crawl in the tent, because now with the sun down, my feet are getting cold. It's time to dry them out and crawl in that sleeping bag. So we'll see everybody in the morning. Well, good morning, everyone. I had a pretty decent night's sleep. Wind kept me up a little bit. Sun's hitting that ridge leading up to Bierstadt. Actually just saw 3 climbers or hikers just over that snowbank. They dipped over the other side. So they're getting their early start for our summit push. There was home for the night. No frost on the ground, so it doesn't look like it quite got down into the 30s. I don't have a thermometer, but I'm standing out here in just a long sleeve shirt and a baseball cap, so I imagine it's probably, I don't know, in the 40s maybe. So the only downside about camping in this beautiful cirque is that it's going to be quite a bit longer before the sun gets down to me. So as obviously as you can tell with my contemplations yesterday, this morning it just felt good sleeping in, so I didn't obviously wake up early and go up to the summit. And I'm thinking, since I've been up there before, I'm probably just gonna get breakfast going leisurely, coffee going, and go ahead and head out the valley on that faint trail. So let's get some coffee going so I don't sound quite so groggy. Alright, as you can see, the coffee's hot. Just let it sit there uncovered a bit to cool down so I can drink it faster. I decided to go ahead and just pack up camp and everything and come out here to that cliff edge to enjoy my coffee with a view. Just about to have the sun come over. Up there on the top of the ridge, you can see a group of hikers heading for the summit. Well, they've been stopped there for a while. They're probably grabbing a snack or something, but probably 10 people, I'd say. I've seen several others in that spot where the trail gets close to the ridge heading up. I'd suspect if they're starting this early, they might be doing Bierstadt and Evans together, like I was saying, over the Sawtooth. But who knows? With all the stormy weather, it's smart to get that early of a start no matter what they're doing. But I'm gonna head out to that rock right there and leisurely enjoy this coffee. All right, well, I came down these rocks here to the far side of the basin under the Sawtooth, and I ran into that climber's trail that descends that gully I was talking about earlier. And it's a lot more worn than I expected it to be, which would be nice. I'll have no problem following it down. And we'll see how it gets down there in that swampy section. All right, I made it down to that meadow area before the beaver ponds, which that trail coming down there was slick and rocky, almost took a tumble. Right up there, one of those was the coffee rock this morning. Now there's just wildflowers everywhere in this meadow. All these red and pink Indian paintbrush, and up on the hillside there are just hordes of columbine. And the waterfall coming off that head wall above. Oh, I hope I don't get my feet too wet, because surprisingly I've actually got them pretty dry. But that is probably not gonna last. Yeah, muddy feet. Very pretty though. Saw some trout rising in this beaver pond. And now the trail, I'm hoping, will be kind of high and dry. But now that my feet are in that shape, at least, if I hit any other sections, I'll just trudge right through it. All right, I made it back to the main trail. Completely soaked from the chest down, just from all the dew on all these willows crashing through. Sunk up to my shins in mud a couple times. So here I am back at the creek crossing. Figure my feet are already wet, I might as well at least rinse off all the mud. Oh, that feels good. It's not even that chilly. It feels real nice. Yeah, so everyone be aware of that. If you're gonna do the Grand Traverse and go up Bierstadt, up the Sawtooth, bag Evans, and then come down that chute, you're gonna be tired. It's gonna be a long day, and then you're gonna have some mucky, boggy mud greeting you as the last obstacle before you get back to the main trail. And I'm gonna go and find a nice place to sit down and start drying out and have my breakfast. Well, I'm back here at Dead Man Lake to have breakfast. You can see that's the trailhead there, which is absolutely mobbed with cars. And this is a Wednesday morning. I mean, just imagine on like a Saturday or Sunday. It's crazy. Bierstadt's really popular because it's probably one of the easiest 14ers that you can summit. So a lot of first timers do it, or people who don't want to get into a epic big hike. Breakfast is going to be, I made some overnight oats. So what I did is at the trailhead, I had this container full of dry oats, blueberries and bananas, and a little peanut butter. And then I dumped in some coconut almond milk and then just let it sit in my pack this whole time and then that gets the oats soft. They don't need to soak as long as they have. You know, like the name says, overnight usually does the trick. So I'm gonna gobble that down and then head back to the car and get on out of here. So hope you guys enjoyed being along for the ride. It was definitely a great trip. I mean, rain wasn't too bad. It was awesome camping up in that cirque all by myself. Not not easy to come by in Colorado, especially close to the Front Range. And yeah, other than that hike out being kind of mucky and muddy, but oh well, can you do? See you guys on the next one. Cheers.